SMRM, or Asmaram. Today, I am your substitute teacher at Wizard School. Enjoy. Greetings, students. My apologies for running a little late. As you can see, I am not your homeroom teacher. Unfortunately, Professor Unanimous had an accident while adventuring and asked me to help out on short notice. My name is Gaffledon, and I will be your substitute wizard until Unanimous recovers from his, rather gruesome state. I don't really know how long that will take, so in the meantime, I look forward to getting along with you young magicians. I used to sit in those very seats myself, you know, doodling in the margins of my spell book, looking forward to the next wizard ball game. Ah, those were the days. Better times. Yes, well, before we get started, let's have ourselves a roll call. It looks like I've got a lot of faces and names to learn. Let's see. Caldera Scalderclaw. Here. Venus Fandango. Here. Dorian Moonrose. Here. Melvin Manymere. Present. Gravelor Boulderrock. Present. Leviatha Serpent Shield. Here. Sebastian Longpire. Also here. Nimbus Zephyra. Way over there in the back. Elros Elensar. Here. Cerulean Floodwater. Here. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. Also here. Draculon the Merciless. Accounted for. Clawbag Bad Moon. Hard to miss. Pizzlewit Quindell. Here. Pneumonia Malady. Present. Jack O'Lantern. Jasper the Amicable Spirit. There you are. And last but not least, the new kid. Ah, yes. There you are. Very good. Well, I think that's everyone accounted for. Excellent. No absences today, it seems, save for our friend Unanimous. What's that? Oh, what exactly happened to Professor Unanimous, you ask? Well, he didn't precisely tell me all the pertinent details. However, I've been able to piece together that he had quite the harrowing experience last night, deep in the depths of Blister Bog. Yes, it seems while out searching for some alchemical components, I think he said something about gargoyle guano. It appears that something else found him first. Judging by the nasty burns on his face, I think he might have stumbled upon the nest of a swamp drake. Most dangerous this time of year, if any of you have taken monster studies, as the swamp drakes have just recently laid their clutch of eggs this season. Unanimous certainly would have anticipated this, master wizard as he is, so doubtless to say this was either a quite formidable swamp drake in itself, or he was caught in some quicksand, or stranglevine, or some other horrible thing. Well, in any case, he made it out safe and sound without any need for resurrection, and is expected to make a full recovery. Thank the gods. In the meantime, I'm supposed to be teaching you in his place, so let's not dilly-dally any more than our class time, with the juicy details of your homeroom teacher's interesting injuries. You can save those probing and potentially embarrassing questions for the wizard himself when he returns. Which reminds me, students, I'll be, passing a get-well-soon card around the class. Please write a few kind words, and I'll see this gets sent to him in the infirmary. I'm sure he'll enjoy reading your written encouragements. At least, more than he enjoyed reading your last assignments. Speaking of which, your last assignments are graded and floating to your desks as we speak. As you can tell from the groans of your fellow classmates, it appears that this was a most difficult equation for just about everyone. Now, while I understand that a poor mark is never a good news for young students of the arcane, take heart in knowing that this is the last of your work that Unanimous will be grading for at least a little while. I will be assigning and grading some makeup work in the interim, and I'm happy to report I exercise a most lenient grading policy. You are, welcome in advance, students. Now, I am not versed whatsoever in arcane arithmetic, so we're not even going to bother with any of that. Instead, I am going to be versing you in the field of adventure theory. Now, some of you may be familiar with this term, but for the sake of those who are not, allow me to elaborate. Here at Wizard School, it is our job to prepare the young minds and bodies of future casters as best as we possibly can for the dangers inherent in our profession that inevitably lie ahead of us. To that end, it is not enough that we merely drill into your skulls the proper incantations, gestures, spells, customs, and magical mathematics. You can have top marks in all the classic studies and still end up a desiccated corpse at the bottom of a dungeon if you are not prepared to improvise and adapt to your ever-changing surroundings. That, dear students, is what the field of adventure theory is for. You see, adventure theory prepares students for the innumerable dangerous encounters they will face throughout the course of their career. It does this in a particularly clever manner that doesn't result in any manifested injury or death to any involved participants. It begins, students, by translating one's individual strengths, weaknesses, skills, talents, and other identifiable traits into numeric form, the totality of which, when displayed, equates to one's simulated character. This character, thus translated into a series of numbers correlating to their various statistics, thus represents you in a simulated environment in which a multitude of threats and allies have also been numerically transfigured. These numbers, however, only represent the base or innate potentials of each entity in the simulation. In order to determine whether or not an action succeeds or fails requires a particular tool, which I have brought with me today. Can any of you tell me what these are? Oop, there goes one. Yes, some of you will know this clacking sound well. These are polyhedral dice. In the business, this is what we would call a standard set, consisting of the 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 20-sided variety. The outcomes of all major decisions made in the course of adventure theory depend on the interaction between the prior mentioned base scores of the individual in the simulation and the result of a specific dice roll, depending on the situation. These simulate the random and inconsistent realities in the application of any school put into practice. Beyond these core concepts, the rest, like most magic, is left to the imagination. The adventure theorist may be placed in any manner of scenario likely to be encountered in the course of a postgraduate adventure. These can include such grand events as life-or-death battles in the dark gloom of hidden dungeons, or tense negotiations in a king's court with countries hanging in the balance, or perhaps lowly, base pursuits such as trying to impress the local barmaid with an exceptionally saucy method of persuasion. Now, students, if you look to your desks, you will see that I have already taken the liberty of translating your skills and abilities onto a character sheet, along with a set of your very own dice. No need to thank me. Please leave those behind before you leave the class. You should already have a quill and scroll ready to record any notes you may need. Now then, for the remainder of the short time that is left for our class, I am going to be presenting you with a number of scenarios, and then call upon students to inquire into their responses. Utilizing the dice, we will then see the simulated consequences of their decisions. And remember, before we begin, not to be grumpy if things don't go entirely your way. For many of you, this will be your first time dabbling in adventure theory, and I would hate to see young, fresh, optimistic, open minds wilt under the pall of discouragement. To reinforce this point, today's grade is entirely participatory. The only requirement I have is for you to try your best and have fun with it. Now then, without any further delay, let's get on with it. Let's see. Let's start with Ms. Scalderclaw. Pardon? You prefer Caldera. Very well. Caldera, you're up first. Caldera, ye find yourself in yon dungeon. Ye see a flask. The obvious exits are north, south, and Dennis. Wait a moment. My apologies, I think I'm reading from the wrong book. Let's try that again. Caldera, you find yourself in the commons of a bustling tavern. The night is young. Sounds of coin, drink, and merrymaking fill the cool evening air. You are seated near a hearth where the glow of embers warm your body and spirit. Suddenly, the front door bursts open to reveal a knight in armor as black as a rotten bruise. As he lumbers in, an unnatural chill sends shivers down your spine. A cloak of foul smoke follows the knight as it coils and chokes the life out of the room's many candles. The tavern, now dark and silent as a forgotten grave, echoes with the figure's booming voice as he roars. Pardon? You cast Fireball? Like right now? Before the knight even says anything? You don't want to hear what he... No, I understand. Yes, super evil introduction, but... You want to cast it. Fireball. In the tavern. Full of people. Right. Well, certainly you may resolve to do so. You cast Fireball at the knight. Let's see. Fireball has a radius of 20 feet, placing you just outside its area of effect. You can go ahead and roll your 4d6, or 4 of those 6-sided dice, to determine the simulated damage caused by the fireball. All those within will have to make a saving throw to attempt to mitigate the damage suffered. Let's see. Okay. Oh dear. Oh, that one's a goner. Okay, well, let's see. You cast fireball from your seat by the hearth, instantly illuminating the darkened inn with a conflagration of heat centered on the mysterious figure. The knights, as well as most of the patrons, are engulfed by a sphere of roiling destruction that engulf person and property alike in flame. The following moments are a picture of panic as people try to extinguish themselves, escape the tavern, or take advantage of all the confusion to pour a few free drinks. In the midst of the chaos, you spot a pile of ruined armor perched atop a mound of cinder and ash where the knight once stood. And there, students, we have a rather direct and to-the-point example of cause and effect. Decision and consequence, as determined by Caldera's peculiar choice of action and the following results of the dice. Excellent work, Caldera. Well done. Next, let's go with Dorian Moonrose. Are you prepared, Dorian? Very well. Good to hear. You find yourself in a clearing within a forested mountain. You have just made camp to rest for the evening and are busy preparing a humble meal of travel rations over your small campfire. The sun sets swiftly, hidden by the surrounding peaks of the mountain range and a canopy of towering trees. Suddenly, you hear a branch snap in the distance nearby. You turn and spot a young man, his clothing ragged and torn, his gaunt face sunburned. He halts as you notice his approach. "Please," the man says, "might I join you round the fire? I haven't had anything to eat in days." What do you do? Oh? Why, yes, Dorian, you may roll a perception check. See, students, this is an excellent example of the collaborative nature of adventure theory. Very well. Dorian, what did you roll? I see. Adding that to the score on your character sheet and... Very well. Yes, Dorian, you give the stranger a hard look with your keen half-elf eyes. It takes you a moment to notice, but beneath the grime and dirt you spot a splash of dried blood about his hands, and notice the handle of a dagger sticking out of his right boot. What do you do? I see. An excellent choice. A suggestion spell would be a swift and silent means of ridding yourself of an uninvited dinner guest. And what would you suggest? Going far away from here. Simple and sweet. Yes, I'll roll a saving throw for the fellow, and... you cast your enchantment on the stranger, suggesting he leave. Though the man's hungry eyes rest on your meal and his grumbling stomach reaches your ears from the clearing, you see his eyes glaze over to your honeyed voice. On second thought, I think I'll go far away from here, he says in a hollow monotone. The stranger's tattered form shuffles off back beyond the tree line, leaving you alone to enjoy your supper in peace for now. Excellent. Well done, Dorian. Goes to show that not every threat needs to be reduced to a puddle of bubbling organs on the ground. Let's see. Now for the new kid. Yes, you, right there. You weren't dozing off, were you? I should hope not. Let's see. You find yourself on board a ship out to sea. The air is stale and dead. The sails carry no fair winds this day. The uncaring sun beats down upon your head as well as the weary sailors that man the vessel. Out of the corner of your eye, you spy a glimmer among the waves. Scanning the waters, you are graced with the visage of a cresting mermaid, resplendent in her beauty. Her eyes lock with yours, and you feel a sensation of bliss creep its way to your very heart. For once, all seems well and right in the world. It does not appear that anybody else has spotted the mermaid. What do you do? I see. Go on. So, just to be clear, you want to... Oh, okay, well, sure, certainly. Go on ahead and, roll me a saving throw to resist the mermaid's charm. Well, what do you know? Yes, you overcome this feeling of content enjoyment, gazing at the mermaid's gorgeous, endless eyes, and muster up the will to bind the mermaid where she swims. Let's give the mermaid a saving roll. Okay then, you see as you cast your spell, the mermaid motions to flee back beneath the waters, yet stops mid-attempt, frozen like an ice sculpture out on the roiling waves. Motionless, she bobs in the waters. You want to what? Oh, okay, you go ahead and give me a charisma roll. Sure enough, you, inform the crew that you've incapacitated the mermaid and seek to capture it. The crew, bored out of their skulls on the still waters and overcome at the prospect of swift riches, eagerly agree to your proposition. In no time at all, dinghies are manned and sent out to collect the paralyzed prize. Well done, new kid. Perhaps not the most ethical decision to capture and sell a mermaid at the nearest port market, but certainly one that embodies the innovative and entrepreneurial adventuring spirit we wish to cultivate here at Wizard School. Oh, goodness gracious, would you look at the sundial? It appears we are out of time for today's homeroom. There will be no assignments due for next class, other than to arrive with an active imagination. And if you don't mind, would someone be so gracious as to bring an apple or two along? It's an overdone bit, but I can't help but enjoy a fresh apple on the desk as a teacher. It's not like I can't afford food on my own. It's been good meeting you all, and I hope to see you again shortly. Farewell for now, students.